while we were waiting for the rain to pass, I was just thinking, you know, the importance of composition versus gear. Like now the end of the year is coming, and you'll see a lot of influencers or videographers or whatever you want to call them talking about what's in my camera bag, for example, stuff like this. And I can say from my own experience that yes, those videos are very entertaining and they captures a lot of views and whatnot, because it's interesting. Ultimately, you definitely need a camera, but that camera is not that important in terms that if it's working and you can take pictures of it, you can probably use it for not the rest of your life, but a very good part of it, unless you try to print something very large. So then this is when you need megapixels or medium format film or whatever. Apart from that, I have never, for myself, I have never improved buying another camera. And I remember, I can say that I have quite few. Because obviously in the beginning, when you try to learn this craft, you'll be thinking of the importance of gear. So I remember my first camera was a Canon 1100D, then it was a Sony A6000, then I have a Canon EOS M, and then it was a Sony A7Siii, Canon 7D Mark II, Canon 5DS, and then I went to Sony A7III, Sony A7R3, and then I had a camcorder Z190, and then I had another one, AX700, and then I bought the Blackmagic 4K, and then the Sony A7S3 and the FX30. Now, obviously, there are a few GoPros there, 7 and 10, an Action 3, and a drone, Air 2S. So quite few cameras. Now, obviously, don't imagine that I just purchased them and I saved all of that. That would have been great. You know, thinking now I could have been like a small museum, but I sold them to finance my next purchase, which was not new, was new to me. Most of them were simply second-hand cameras. I bought them from different websites and Amazon warehouses, and so I because you know there it could be obviously quite expensive. What are you talking about? And there's not an easy task, right, to shell so much money. And lenses are there as well, and flashes and whatnot. But I never improved. Until you go to film school or you start reading books and go to webinars and really think about composition and lighting and composition. There is nothing much else there. A new gear obviously will probably help you to go out more. It will make you more excited, and that can partially improve you, because by shooting more you become better. But my take on that is that perfect practice makes it perfect, not just practice. You know, if you practice the wrong thing, you're not going to become better. It's as simple as that. And whenever you discover a new photographer that you try to copy in the beginning, don't make a religion out of it. Okay, that man or that woman would never produce 100% of the times excellent photos, and you don't have to copy the style necessary. You just had to get inspiration and then do your own approach. Again, what happens is, another thing that people are getting wrong, in my opinion, is that they look into all sorts of magazine websites, whatnot, and they try to copy the exact same photo that somebody took, and they go there in the same place and they try to more or less do the same thing, but they don't realize that they are cutting corners, and that corners doesn't. So somebody will have a large format camera and a Fuji Velvia emulation and waited 4 days for a perfect sunset and the dynamic range to fall into the dynamic range of the film, and you have a crop sensor Canon and a kit lens 11 to 55, and you bracket exposures thinking that okay, that will do. That man is doing a completely different stuff, and you are trying to copy the same thing. It will never look as good as what he's doing, because you are cutting corners. So you can't cut corners. You have to try to use the same equipment. But I would say that instead of doing that, you just have to understand what is the principles. So use soft light, sunset, sunrises, backlit, frontlit. That's the whole idea, but you don't have to go and mimic the same thing. Like here in Ireland, we don't necessarily have amazing sunset and sunrises, though that can happen, but we have this moody weather, and some people don't have that. And we have the sea, and some people don't have that, so you just take advantage of what you have and work it from there. It finally happened. Basically, I got a long exposure of that. I think it's working in a... I did that last year as well, in square format. This time I was like kind of lower in the water, just to get the groins piercing the horizon line. I think I kind of like it, and I like the mood, you know. As you can see, there is a lot of mystery behind that fog. We don't know what's hiding. We don't know. It's absolutely great. What I'll do now, I'll just move forward and try to settle for a different composition and press the shutter button whenever the rain stops. Yeah, what can I say? Another one for the win, another composition. Just from this side, I was on this particular side of the shore, so I took a diagonal around 135 millimeters. It's very hard to film and vlog at the same time, because obviously the priority is the photograph, but it is too much rain, so gear may suffer unnecessarily. Anyway, I'll just wait now for another hour or so to water to, you know, come to a different level. Hopefully the tide will go off, so I can go more closer to this wood formation, so I can get a different angle. And I think I'm kind of happy with it. Now, in order to get those unfortunately oyster beds, I don't think it is happening today. I mean, that will be another 3 hours at least. Wait here. I may wait, I don't know. Depends on my mood. We'll see. The water is receding now rapidly, and luckily I managed to snag 2 more exposures from exactly what I know down below and into the water. This always looks best for this type of photography. My impression is that I've seen in other people's work as well. You have to pierce the horizon line with those sticky things. Otherwise, you're just going to dwarf the subject. It may work as well. You see, everything is allowed, but it's much better if you do it like this for some reason. And now, obviously, I'm just trying to go behind those pillars, because the water is lower and lower, and more or less take the same composition. I don't know why, but I'll just do that. Just waiting for a brief moment of time, you know, just to have the rain stopped, and then I'll try to get my shot. So the event horizon happened. As you can see, the water is pretty much gone now, and when she was going back to the car, we'll wait there, we'll get some warm, listen to some music or whatever, and hopefully another hour we may be able to revisit those oyster beds. But I don't know, if it's raining like this, it will be crazy to do it. I'll just wait, see how it goes, because it's incredible sometimes how fast the water actually goes back, and how fast it can come as well. I have to be always careful here, but low tide will be around 1 o'clock, so we'll see what's happening. And good morning again from Coinigear, Dungarvan. An absolute beautiful morning, but that's not what I'm looking for, because I don't need this cloudless sky. I'm here again for the oyster beds, and the reason that I have to shoot in these dreadful conditions is because this is the low tide. I cannot access them if there is no low tide. So I'm not going to spend too much time here, though it's only 11:43 and the lowest of the tide will be in apparently in 2 hours. But I don't know what's happening. I think I kind of missed the opportunity. We'll see how the seabeds are looking, and I'm trying to get obviously a minimalistic long shot exposure. The sun is kind of strong in fairness, so I don't know how it will happen. The water is very, very low. It may not work. Let's see. It's unbelievable, isn't it? Like a lot of seabeds, but I see the same compositional issue, and that is those seabeds, they are looking like a very compact mass. So I need to find some skeleton beds. They look good, and I have to go obviously further and further in order to get that, in my opinion, because the water is very, very low here. Obviously there are no oysters, or there, I don't care. I'm just here to photograph them. And I think I see those. There are 2 lonely beds there in front of me. If I can get that, at least I'm done. So obviously I'm with the camera at ISO 80, the slowest, and now I'm just going to work on the shutter speed, obviously, to make it I'm kind of close to it, but this, I have leading lines, most likely. Yeah, I like this shot, but we have to definitely come back here, come back more, way back, or possibly here. I have a nice leading lines. Regarding focusing, I will definitely, I may even bracket this, focus bracketing, but I don't think it's needed. And yeah, all I need now is the filter in front of me, setting the camera to bulb mode. And trying the new remote control. So F13 ISO 80, I'm aiming for 1 minute. I'm happy, even if that will be the only shot that I'm getting. It's perfect, but obviously we'll get more composition. We'll try to work on a diagonal, in a diagonal fashion as well. Why not? And we'll take it from there. Do I need an ND grad? Possible, you know, but these cameras these days, they have an absolute great dynamic range. I think I'll just forget about the ND grad, and I'm just going to use it as it is. But man, if I can spend the whole afternoon here, I'll be so happy. Now this time I moved a little bit further, and I have this composition in front of me, which is leading towards some sort of a island back in the at the horizon line. I'm keep watching the buoy. Where is the buoy? Oh, yeah, that's my buoy. There, the orange buoy. It needs to be invisible, otherwise it is too late. You won't be able to make it to the shore. But other than that, it's fine. I don't really see a diagonal. I want to shoot in a diagonal fashion. I don't think I'll just move further now, because I have seen some empty beds in which I think they will look even better. Now I'm here with the third composition, and this time is something in a, there is a dog barking. I found some sort of a diagonal which I think is working. Is not, there are some mountains in the background as well which I may erase or leave it like this, I'm not sure. I think probably the horizon should have been brought down with an ND grad, but I can most likely recover that in Lightroom. Let's see what else we can find, and to be honest, I'm very happy. I'm very happy with the outcome. I see people harvesting the oysters, which is great. I've kind of finished here. I'm just going to get the a different bank there next to that pier, simply because those oyster beds, as I said, they create a pattern, but there's nothing to break the pattern. So with the naked eye it looks different than the camera sees it, obviously. So I have to say goodbye. I don't think I'll be returning here. There are only few oyster banks that can be successfully photographed, in my opinion, and now people are harvesting. Don't want to disturb them, but it was great. It is a great effort, and as I said, never lose hope. It's always good to come and persist until you get it right. Sure, I can only imagine fog day, I can only imagine sunset and sunrises, but you know, you cannot have it all. It's very far away from where I live, so yeah, I'm happy. You know, we have to be grateful and we have to be happy with what we have. Now again, I want to share with you another oyster bank which I have here in front of me. Absolutely beautiful, isn't it beautiful? Look at the cloud formation. I mean, look at that. We have the famous pier there, but it's obviously the tide is too low now. And apart from that, I'm just going to check on this oyster farm in front of me, just to see what else we can get. Again, I'm not necessarily a big fan of that. We don't have, as you can see, a very clean background, so I have to shoot in that direction. But there is a lonely pole there. I don't know, there are multiple things that I can do here, but I was thinking that in order to get these long exposures, obviously you need few components. Number one, you need your subject, like everything else in photography, and not every subject worth photographing in long exposure. So you need something that is completely rock solid. A lonely tree, for example, it may not work that great because when the wind is blowing, you will see that the branches will be blurry, so that won't work that great. But a lighthouse or a different building, that may work perfectly. So this is your subject that needs to be rock solid. What else we need is definitely some sort of a movement in the frame, and the most common thing will be the sky with clouds that are moving. But water also makes a great subject. So you need one stationary subject and one continuously moving subject. And it's also good if you use the negative space. So water and clouds along with a stationary subject is probably the perfect scenario. But then you need another thing, and this is what it is. This is called the Wellington's boots. Without Wellington's boots you can't get this type of shots here. It just won't work. Wow, I mean, look at that. A lot of oyster beds here. We might find some sort of a composition. Let's do our best and try to get with at least one more shot.